So we're back with another game update for Nebulous Fleet Command. It seems that almost every week we're getting a new update with something new or a change to something that's already existing. The first thing that we're going to go through is something that I'm really excited for, and it's really going to open up the tactical nature of 3D gameplay. So first things first, when we deploy into a map, usually we come in about the center line, and what usually happens is as time goes on, people fight and go higher and higher and higher, and we end up with sort of a battle for height as well as around in the middle of the map. And we don't see a lot of people play underneath the map because that's actually quite a hard thing to do when we're setting our movement, and for a lot of people who are still getting their understanding of moving in 3D space. So if I was to select our ship here, you can see it's actually a little bit more difficult to operate everything underneath. Well, the developer has fixed this by giving us the option now to flip the map. By pressing Control, Shift, Space as the default key, remembering you can change this as we do have custom keybinds, we're able to flip the entire map. So now up becomes down and down becomes up, or in space, there really isn't any sort of sense of up or down. And where we want to now set those waypoints, we can actually set all our orders underneath the map, because as we go up, we're actually moving below the map. So if I was to issue this movement order here and then flip back up around the default way, you can see that I've easily set that movement order to move below that asteroid. So this is going to open up the tactical gameplay a lot more, as we see on maps like Pillars, as well as even the Cliff, where we have those big terrain features that go below that sort of galactic plane that we spawn in on. And now we can just move and navigate underneath. So there are a few things that will help orientate you to understand which direction that you're facing now that we have the ability to flip the map. So first of all, you can see over here we've got the plus 30, plus 45, plus 60. If we flip the map, that's going to have on the corresponding side minus 30, minus 45, minus 60. So that's your first indicator to tell which way up you are or down depending on your point of view. We also have this yellow line added here, which will orientate to 00 or Galactic North. So when you're making callouts to your team members, you can now reference Galactic North. You've also got from before your various degree marks off to the side, as well as plus 30, plus 40, and plus 60 up the top. For those of you who are already starting to feel a little bit motion sick from flipping that plane every time, the developers thought of that as well. If we come into settings, accessibility, we can then turn off the flip animation. So this is probably what I'll be playing. If I press Control Shift Space now, it just does a straight flip. And I think for me, that's probably the best. Whilst we're still on the tactical map, missile ranges will now add out to your offensive range circles. Your red lines are your offensive range circles. You can see here if I select my light cruiser that has Thunderheads equipped, we're now going to be able to go out to that 14,000 meter range, which we can check by moving the red line out to 14,000 meters. So electronic warfare, when aimed at a position in space, will now just focus at that position in space. Previously, when electronic warfare was activated and the ship started to roll or the ship started to move, that jamming cone was then going to start to move along with that ship in accordance with its orientation. Now, as we see here, the blanket jammer is going to continue to face the direction that we've set it, and if we issue a roll command, that ship's now going to continue to shoot electronic warfare in that direction, even as it continues to roll. So we can see the roll here, and we can see that we are still maintaining the blanket jammer in space as we move forward and we roll towards us. So we've been dealing with lifeboat clutter for a while now. We've had another update to make that a little bit cleaner. So now when lifeboats spawn, what they're going to do is they're going to fly back towards the position that their ship arrived from and then cross that map boundary. This is going to significantly reduce that clutter. Here we are in the tactical map, so we can see that the lifeboats are heading towards the withdrawal line. So what does that mean in the larger games? We're going to be able to keep that map clean towards the mid and end game. So if we jump into the fleet editor for some balance changes, The battleship, the Solomon, has had its component durability reduced from 55 down to 40%, so it should be a little bit easier to destroy. We'll see how that goes in larger games so that we don't see 2, 3, 4 battleships being taken, and hopefully encourage a bit more fleet diversity in what people are taking onto the battlefield. So another change, and this time to the frigate, is that the module 5 slot has increased from a 2x2x2 to a 3x3x3. So this will now let you put a micro reactor on that frigate. Previously, if you wanted additional power, you had to rely on power plants. So with this increase in power, we're now going to be able to equip something such as a spyglass onto the frigate, as well as then maintaining some electronic warfare. We can get almost 4 electronic warfare components plus a spyglass, and we probably still just need to take 1 plant control center. It also makes things such as the floodlight illuminator a lot more possible, as the power requirements alone are now offset by the micro reactor. So it'll be interesting to see what builds now come out using the frigate for different roles than it previously was. Just a few things in multiplayer. If you now kick a player twice from the same lobby, they can't rejoin that lobby again until the host restarts their game. So if you've got someone for whatever reason that you don't want to play, or they're not being friendly, if you kick them twice, they're not going to be able to come in. You don't have to keep kicking them each time out of your lobby. You can also now add a filter to hide password protected games, as well as any games in progress to see what games are available for you to join. Alright, so that's it for this game update. A lot of really good changes here. I think the camera flipping will really make a lot of tactical changes for players now. We've got the lifeboats, which will declutter the battlefield, and we're also going to see with the change to the Solomon how that plays up on the next community night. Is it now a little bit easier to take down for different fleets, and hopefully encourage different fleet compositions?